Right. Hi, Shaan. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are
It's
you?
love. I'm good, thank you too. It's been one of those days, and I'm running a bit late. You're running a bit late. We're all running a bit late.
Yeah.
I hope it was for something pleasant like the beach or something. It's such a beautiful day today.
Yeah, not quite. We've got a our cat's new to our house and she um she peed on the carpet, which is not good.
No, and you try and get that smell out. I'll
Yeah.
have to give you some tips and tricks afterwards once we finish the interview.
She's just a bit stressed out and she got sick and now she's unhappy. So anyway, it's okay.
Oh, poor
It'll be right.
kitty.
Yeah,
Indeed. Well, welcome. Thank you so much, Sean, for coming on and giving us a bit of insight into you as a musician and as a teacher, really, more than anything else. Because as many people will know, you are a public figure,
yeah.
the lead singer and saxophonist. I can never say that word. Saxon,
Saxophonist.
the guy, the guy who plays the saxophone.
That's a better one.
Yeah. In Drax Project, and I've been a fan for a long time, believe it or not, and so have a lot of my wards and children. So everybody's very excited to have you on here today.
Oh,
Um,
well, I'm excited to talk about, yeah, teaching and music in general. Yeah.
yes, indeed. So I sent you a couple of well, a few questions, and
Yeah,
would you're okay to go through those?
of course.
Excellent. So the first one, what I'd really like to find out from you is when and how did you realize that music was your passion?
I don't think I really, it wasn't like a moment, it was just a gradual process, probably. Yeah.
So,
Maybe it was pretty solidified, I think. I decided that I wanted to go to university and study it. So that was probably the biggest, like, this is what I'm doing moment.
mm,
Yeah.
so have you come from a musical family? Where did the passion start for you?
Um, well, it started when I was younger, like maybe around 9. I got music lessons at the Kapiti Music like Center.
Mm.
I was learning trumpet from a lady called Donna. She was a good teacher.
Oh,
I learned how to read music from her. Um, so I learned trumpet, and my brother was learning clarinet from an amazing man who his name escapes me right now, but he was an elderly gentleman. He was maybe in his 70s at the time.
oh wow.
Merv,
Move.
I think his name was Merv.
Is he speaking to you?
Well, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so Merv taught my brother, I think his name's Merv. Anyway, my brother was learning
Mhm.
clarinet. He was my brother was very studious. He was 3 years younger than me. I was less studious, but I did practice. Anyway, me and my brother used to go busking outside the warehouse here in Carpenter. And then I think I was like, I really want to learn saxophone. And they had music lessons in Kapiti from a lady called
Mhm.
Namala McDonald. And she taught saxophone
Mhm.
and clarinet and she was mainly a piano player and a piano teacher, but she also taught saxophone. And so we did classical and classical performance and theory like grades with her, which was
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
good. I enjoyed it. She even took me through some jazz stuff. She was like, I think maybe the last year of lessons I was having with her, I wanted to do jazz, and she was like trying to teach me some jazz stuff. She wasn't a jazz player herself, but she was imparting the knowledge. Anyway, that was kind of my early learning with my brother. Yeah, but I didn't really take it seriously until I mean, I took it like I didn't know what taking something seriously was really until I went to university. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, as long as you're enjoying something, I think being serious about something is overrated, to be honest, because if you get
Sure.
too serious,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
Well,
get too
you know what, like
serious, you
I guess
lose
like
that.
yeah, I didn't realize how much time you needed to put into something, is really what I'm saying. Like, like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just the consistent time is really
practice.
it, like yeah, that was
Yes. So when you went to uni, was it a bit of a rude awakening for you?
nah, it wasn't, to be honest, either. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
see, I was lucky. I had a younger brother who was very good, and so he was kind of pushing me. And I had gone to the the youth jazz like program down in Wellington. So I had a
Mm,
head start against the other people in my year. So I
mm.
already felt like I went into the first class like kind of knowing like, he's like, what are all the major triads? And I'm like, I already know them, and everyone's figuring them out. So I already felt like I had a head start.
Oh, yeah.
But there were some teachers who kicked my ass and made me realize yeah, that they were that some specific teachers were the rude awakening, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is what teaching's all about, really, is
yeah,
giving people the rude awakening so that they can shift their perception or their ideas about the world or whatever
yeah.
you're looking at.
And and
Um,
I think they knew that I wanted to get better, so they were giving me the tough love that I needed.
yeah.
You know. You know what I mean? Like if
Yes.
someone doesn't show like that amount of interest, like the things that they showed me and were like trying to get me to do would have been harsh. But I really wanted them, so
Yeah.
it was just what everyone needed who wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and youth brings a certain amount of arrogance with it, and sometimes that has to be
Yeah.
tempered a bit so that you can learn new things, because if we're thinking that we know everything, you can't learn then. So
Exactly,
uh,
yeah. And the problem is like you compare yourself to your people who are around you often, and sometimes that's good. But
sometimes it's not.
sometimes if you're the best person in the room, then like
Mm.
you think you're really good, but in reality it's not
You're just okay.
you're just the best person in the room. You're not in the scheme of the
Yeah.
global saxophone players who I was trying to be on level with. I was very, very low on that list. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Everything's relative.
yeah.
Everything's relative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So, what advice would you give any young person contemplating a career in music? What advice would you give them?
Um,
That's a toughie, isn't it?
pretty, I think it would be very dependent on what they want to do specifically.
Mm,
There's some very general advice, but like the general advice is just life advice. Like, just be nice and continue and just don't stop trying to do what you're trying to do.
mm,
Like for example, if I wanted to do what I'm doing right now, which is
mm.
writing music, and performing the music and making
Yeah,
money off the music, um, I would
consistency is one thing.
I
And
would write a lot of songs.
mm,
You just got to do a lot of what you're going to do. So, for example, if you want a song that you want to earn money off and you want it to be on radio, then write 100 of them at least.
mm,
Show them to people, show them to your friends, show them to people who are better than you.
mm,
Perform them at gigs. Get a gig.
mm,
Go and ask a local bar or a local person, can I perform? Go to
mm,
mic nights. Perform your songs live. You'll know which ones people like. People
yeah,
will people will sing along, maybe, people will dance, people will interact, people will do these sorts of things. And then you got to get gigs, you got to perform the songs. But then you also have to potentially find some people who are really like-minded to you. And that's the case with everything. I don't think
mm,
doing things alone works for 99.99999% of people.
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
very few people in the world that can just be completely self-motivated every day for years, you know?
For years on end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can be
Absolutely.
self-motivated on a Saturday, you know, but when it comes to like Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, I want having the feeling that someone's relying on me or that I am relying on this other person and having a team. I think having
Mm,
a team of people is just really important, whether or not you're a solo artist or a band. Regardless, I think the team is so important. And so being a
mm,
nice person is real important because then if you're nice, then you're going to have nice people around you. You're going to want to be
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And having people who are like-minded is super important. And in New Zealand, it can be hard if you're trying to find people to be. I mean, New Zealanders are externally thoughtful. Like we think outside of New Zealand a lot, but
Yeah.
like as in like I want to go places, but not. But when I was at uni and high school, there's not necessarily a lot of people thinking I want to do something on an international stage. Like I want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't actually very many examples of it when we were in uni. Like Lord was
Yeah.
started doing very well, and then Kimbra.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's other examples of New Zealand musicians, but I think young people now are maybe more aware that there is an international stage. Social media has been pretty instrumental for
And
that.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
What I'm hearing from you is that you really have to learn to connect with the people around you. And when you're on stage, you have to connect with your audience. Otherwise, you've got nothing.
yeah, yeah, it's so true. It's a
Yeah.
very, I'm so happy you said that because I talked to songwriters about this, people who
Mm,
ask me about songwriting because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I think the songs that have been the most successful, or I don't even like using that word, but like the most listened to, I guess it is
mhm.
successful, have been the ones that people connect to. So it's not just people
Absolutely.
around you, you know, like if you want to make music, then you want to connect that it's gonna you need to connect with people. I think that like musicians in New Zealand, like 660, very successful New Zealand
Yeah,
band. I
they're
think part of their
fantastic.
success is that
Mm,
they're very similar to they're just regular New Zealanders and they're making
mm.
music for themselves. And so if they're regular New Zealanders and they're making music for themselves, then regular New Zealanders were going to connect to that music.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think
It's
it's
authenticity, isn't it?
sure.
Keeping authentic. And that in itself is a connection to yourself. If you're not connected
Yeah.
with yourself, your inner world, so to speak, you can't connect with anything else or anyone else. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that too. You got great little snippet. You got the little I want to say also like I think jazz musicians specifically usually very very good ones from in my experience the people that I've met the best jazz musicians are have very high self-awareness and emotional
Mm.
ability, quote EQ, you know,
Yes,
high EQ
absolutely.
people. And I think it's
Yeah.
because there's yeah, they just have to be. You can't be on that high level of jazz musicians specifically,
Yeah.
extremely
Yeah.
technically proficient, extremely aware level of musician without that. Yeah. So
That would probably come with the whole premise that artists, any kind of artists, musicians, as in visual artists or sculptors or whatever, are very right-brained people, and the right brain, the right hemisphere of the brain is in charge of creativity, it's in charge of intuition, it's in charge of all those things that come into play when you are creating something, whether it be music, whether it be writing a book or whatever it is. Your right hemisphere is very active. So yes,
that's
like you
interesting.
said,
I've
that
heard
that
that before. I don't know a lot about um that,
yeah.
but it
Well,
makes sense. I've done some online tests for myself, like are you left or right brained?
Yeah.
They weren't very
And
conclusive, to be honest.
and how did they come out that you were
I
quite
was,
right-brained?
I
Or
think I'm super even both sides, but that's just me. My brother's,
that's awesome. That's what we all aspire to,
you know,
balance.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really interesting because my whole concept about education is that we actually only need three things in education. And the first one is connection. We have to learn to be able to connect with ourselves, with each other, with the earth, with whatever higher power you subscribe to. The second one is communication. And with musicians, you're communicating that all the time, aren't you? That's what you're doing. You're communicating. You're communicating and maintaining those connections. And the third one is creativity, and that speaks for itself. So really, the way I see it, any education, not just music or arts, or it is based on those three things.
Interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, what you've just described kind of clinches it for me. um,
Yeah,
so,
I've seen some very good musicians not be very good teachers, though.
because they can't connect to the people that they're working with, or why do you
I
think
don't
that
know. I
is?
think, yeah, I don't really know. I think it's hard because sometimes to teach someone what you're doing, you have to understand fully what you're doing. And some people, myself included, for some parts of what I do, I haven't spent time trying to analyze. And so you got to analyze what you're doing fully to be able to communicate it. Otherwise, the only way to teach would just be to show, which is totally fine. But if you're trying to be academic in the sense or show, everyone has a different style of learning, So
Yeah.
if someone really needs a specific thing from you, you're trying to teach them, but you don't understand it yourself. I think, yeah. So it's hard. I think I find it hard to teach people how to sing for that reason. I've only been a student of singing for like 3 or 4 years. It's just not enough time for me to know what's going on in there. I can try, I'm okay at it,
Yeah.
but it's not super
You
common.
could mimic. You could mimic what you've learned rather
Yeah,
than
yeah. Me teaching someone how to sing is more like the showing
Yeah.
rather than being like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
So yeah,
We
like I've
actually
seen some incredible musicians just be, I don't want to name any names, but just the worst teachers. Like, as someone who'd been learning their instrument for 2 years would be a better teacher than them. They're just so wrapped up in their own process.
yeah,
it's hard for them to
yeah,
communicate it, which is okay.
yeah.
That's fine.
Some people just weren't meant to teach.
Yeah. And some people just don't like it as well, which is
yeah. I feel another one of my premises, I guess, is that teachers are born, they're not made. Teachers are definitely born.
You reckon?
Yeah. Good teachers are usually very intuitive, very responsive,
Okay.
yeah, and creative in the way that they teach. So yeah, that's why I guess some people can and some people just can't.
Sure. I think I'm getting better at teaching. I do enjoy it though. I think you have to enjoy it first, right?
Yeah, you have to have a passion for it, don't you?
Yeah.
So we're talking about education here. How do you feel that your formal education helped or hindered your creativity and your talents?
I think long term it never hindered it. I think someone could feel hindered by formal education if they want to. You know what I mean?
It's their choice, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I could feel hindered by anything, but like at the end of the day, it's not taking away from anything. You can choose for it to take away. It's like, for example, it could be a negative experience, but some people choose to be affected by the negative experience. It's just a choice. Not saying that formal education is negative. I'm just using it as an example. But I think that it helped in a way that it allowed me to, I guess, fast track a few things.
Did it give you a structure? Structure within
Sure.
Within that you could grow within. Yeah.
I think I need deadlines too, and formal, having deadlines is pretty helpful for someone like me, who is a pretty terrible procrastinator. I'm gotten a lot better at it past the age of 26.
Well, they do say that the male brain actually only matures at around 25, 26.
So now I don't need deadlines. I can make them myself, which is nice. But anyway,
that's great.
It was
now
hard.
You're a grown up.
Yeah, I know. Ridiculous. But I think I think the way that I now learn music after I've finished my university study, and I've been doing music for like years and years after that, and I'm doing different music, I'm doing pop music. I think that there are better ways to learn what I did in a faster and more fun way. I did a lot of like theory and grading, stuff like that. And those are the things that were the hardest to lose. Like classical theory is just, they forget that it's just a theory. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think that there's a little bit of the world of jazz, which is a little bit more like, hey, it's just a theory, but though you can do whatever you want. And I think like when it came to writing music and trying to make music that connects with people and myself, I was getting too complex and too structured in the way that I was trying to do it rather than just feel it, which I think all good music should come out of feeling rather than maths.
Absolutely.
I think like learning the maths is great, but then forgetting about it, and then being creative. It's like there's that great quote, I think it's Charlie Parker or something like that. He learns the changes and then forgets them. He learns the chords and then he forgets them. He learns so well.
Do you think maybe it's not so much forget, but you integrate it?
Yeah. The word forget, I didn't understand what he meant that time. He learned them so well. He learned them better than I can ever imagine learning something. Even at this point, he learned them so well. He spent 11 to 15 hours a day for 4 years in a row,
Oh, crikey.
learning. So he learned them, and then he forgot them. So that's what it means, And so it was hard to, even at the point of learning it a little bit, I was spending like hours a day learning stuff to forget that when it came to creating. So, but it was just a process, learning and then learning how to forget, or learning just to be less, I can't think of the word, just less like
to be more authentic and allow the learning to inform you rather than direct you, like
I wanted to make music that I liked, and it's taken a while. It's weird.
Oh, well, that's life. That's what we're here to do, is to experience and learn and create what we want to create.
But and the long answer short is I don't think it hindered me. No, I don't think it hinders anyone. Like I said at the start, it shouldn't.
Unless you allow it to.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's definitely a choice of taking responsibility. Sure, the environment doesn't suit everyone, and it's suiting less and less children. And I've found that as an educator myself, these more and more disenfranchised, disengaged kids, because they're different. Our world is different, but the education system hasn't changed much, to be honest, in response to that. So, but yes, we've all been through the education system, and those of us who've school wasn't hard for me, but it wasn't that easy either, in that I'm dyslexic, and you know, highly intelligent, but I can't always express that intelligence, and that could be, sometimes that could be a hindrance. But
Totally. Yeah, I had a friend in high school who has dyslexia. He's still one of my best friends. And he's so smart. He's smarter than me in heaps of ways, It's just like it's frustrating him at school. Like he was in like the low level class that they streamed you in.
yeah,
And that was always frustrating for him because, and then once he got like someone to write for him, he was sweet ass. Like he was
yeah,
getting like merits and excellences in
absolutely.
English.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
anyway. So
And
yeah,
I'm a writer,
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've grown up to be a writer,
yeah. I think it's a great
even though
like
I am dyslexic.
it was actually changing just as I was in high school. I feel like it was like year 11, year 12, year 13. That was when it was like, oh, dyslexia is not a disability, by the way.
Yeah, it's just a different way of thinking. Yeah,
Totally, yeah.
yeah,
And like it's almost like
yeah,
the opposite of a
absolutely.
disability, It's almost like people with different these different ways of learning often are able to pick up other things way faster, like music um and
Absolutely.
and just
Engineering and that sort of thing as well.
yeah,
They
especially
usually,
yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. I was pretty lucky in high school to I was just interested in kind of everything, but wasn't until the end of my high school, year 13, where I did just like want to do music full time, and I wasn't interested in anything else at that point. Um,
Yeah, that gets a bit hard when you're being forced to do things like maths or whatever
yeah,
it is. Although
yeah,
maths is quite interesting to do with music, because
yeah.
there is quite a lot of mathematical
There's a lot of very good
correlations.
yeah, there are. There's a lot of
Mm.
musicians are very good at patterns, and maths there's lots of patterns. But
Yeah.
but like for example, like I think that everyone decides. Oh, everyone, not everyone. Like everyone finds a different period of life that they know what they want to do, and I just happened
Yes.
to know that I wanted to do it in like when I was 17. Some people take
Which is
longer. Some people
fantastic.
know it earlier. Some people know when they're like 10, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Um, and so yeah, it's just hard at that point when you just like, yeah. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
still important. Like I'm glad I went to my last year of high school. I am glad. I got lots out of it outside of music, socially, and also
Socially.
in other subjects as well. Like I can't remember. I did chemistry and stuff. Like it's
Mm.
fun. I enjoyed it. It helps me in
Mm.
my day-to-day life, probably. Um,
Well, it's all learning as well, isn't it?
Yeah, like I
You
was saying
know.
before, like you can choose for it to be like, oh, I wish I didn't do that, or you can be like, you know what, that was good. I know how magnets work.
And now I can stick one to my fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Like my brother didn't even go through university for music. He went to electrical engineering. And so he knows how to like build stuff and code stuff, and he's a
Wow,
musician,
amazing.
like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so good for him. I wish I went to law school, but just carried on music on the side, and then I don't have to pay lawyers ever again, you know what I mean?
Well, I know how you feel. And quite often I think, do I need a lawyer? If I've been in a couple of situations where couldn't afford a lawyer and ended up doing it myself, and doing
Yeah.
very well at it.
There's lots of things I wish I knew how to do. I wish I knew how to fix a car. I wish I knew how to do
Yeah.
taxes. I wish I knew how to read legal documents. And what else? That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, that's probably all the things that you need in your life at the
Yeah.
moment.
School
Yeah.
would have been better if it was just like mechanics, music, law, and accounts. Yeah.
There you are. Hopefully
And maybe
coming to
some
college
cooking.
and all
Some
those
cooking
things.
as well.
Yeah, some cooking and maybe sewing, you know,
Sewing, that's
life
good.
skills.
My wife
Yeah.
sews, so it's okay.
Oh, well, there you are. You're okay. You've found somebody that
yeah.
fills the gaps for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So actually, we've kind of touched on this anyway, but what what is your what is your philosophy around teaching and learning? What motivates you when you're teaching or learning? Because teaching and learning are actually the same thing. They're just on the different side of the spectrum, really. So,
Okay. I haven't thought about it like that before. Well, then I'll start with learning then. My motivation with learning is to have more fun when I'm playing music.
yeah.
Because like if I'm better, it's actually way more fun. Because like as I got better, it became more fun. Like imagine it like when I played basketball, like when I got better, it was way more fun. You know, when I could dunk the basketball, when I could bounce the ball between my legs, when I could, I could do all these things. Basketball becomes
Yeah.
more fun. You've got more tricks, So music's the same. And like when I got better, it was just so much more fun. You get to hear more. It's like when you get better at music, you like unlock new colors. You're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen green before, and now I can make green. Like. Imagine never seeing green. Like, I mean, some people probably have this when they put on those crazy glasses. But imagine never
Yeah.
seeing color and then seeing it for the first time. It's amazing. And that's like for music and jazz specifically. It's like, oh, these great feelings, and when I get to play it, it feels good. And so that's my motivation for getting better, for learning is because the thing that you're doing just becomes more fun.
Yeah.
And so I guess as it is the same for teaching, seeing that in someone else, seeing that person go click, oh, or like,
Woohoo.
those click
Yeah.
moments. I just live for those click moments for myself. And so seeing someone else have that is very pleasing as well.
Yes.
So yeah,
And how do you get somebody to that aha moment? What is your modus operandi, so to speak, when you're in, like, when you're with a student? What is it that you do? And I don't necessarily mean walk me through a lesson. What is it? Is it questioning? Is it allowing them to struggle? What is it that you do to get your students to that aha moment and they're having fun?
I don't really question. I don't really ask them questions when we're playing. Like if they make a mistake, I just like let them figure it out themselves usually. I think it's way better. For example, I know you said don't walk me through a lesson, but like
Yeah,
I
but
want to
that's
give
okay.
you a few examples, right? Like if I'm teaching like on guitar, like major and minor chords within like a diatonic thing. I need to get the guitar out.
Yeah, get the guitar. That's
So like,
exciting.
like I was teaching someone who was quite new to the guitar about like major and minor chords. And what you said to me in the call the other day was I think I can change the sound so you can hear my voice, my thing properly.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's better. So like,
Awesome.
I was trying to teach them major and minor chords. And to teach them, we composed a song using them, and it was so much more fun because they get a song out of it and they get to learn that one's major and two's minor and three's minor and four's major, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
And but when they get it wrong, they know because it sounds wrong, and because I've a little bit of time already showing them and they've been playing it, and when they come to a chord they don't know, they're like, and they fix it. That's really nice to see because that's their own aha.
Okay.
They did it themselves. They've taught themselves in that moment.
Absolutely.
And I really like that because I think the aha moments don't come from someone telling you something. I mean, yes,
They
but
certainly don't.
they come from you realizing it yourself. Maybe you heard someone say, "This is this," and you're like, "Ah," but like it's yourself. You have to understand that. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, like for example, like teaching them a major scale on like this way, and then teaching them this way, and then them realizing that like things aren't linear and things are, yeah, I don't know. It's really nice. This is a real like beginner level like aha moments, but it's still fun. Like seeing them do that, seeing a student have a little aha is just really nice. And I think anyway, what was the original question? I can't remember.
What's your philosophy around teaching and
Yeah.
learning?
It came
And
out
what
of
I'm hearing is that you allow people, or you allow your students to make mistakes and come to a place where they fix that mistake up and then go,
sure.
that's how you do it, you know?
Yeah. And the same goes for like if I'm doing ear training with them, I'll be like, what's this? And then I'll play it, and they're like, if they get it right, like it's not as good for me or for them, because like for example, if I've given them two options,
yeah,
50% chance of getting it right anyway. So I'd rather they get it wrong, because then they get to learn.
yes,
And so like I'll do ear training with them, and when they get it wrong, they learn, and like and they never, and almost like when you get something wrong and fix it yourself, you rarely get it wrong again.
yeah, that's true.
And
Because
but if I said no, that's wrong. This is what it is. This is, you're wrong. This is what it is. It's just gone. Like whatever. I got it wrong.
yeah.
But if I'm like, oh, try again. This is the one above. This is the one below. So what's this? And they're like, oh, that's that. And it's like, boom, all these like firing neurons or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely.
so I think, yeah, I mean, I know I learn better like that. But my style specifically came out of like, oh, I can't really teach people heaps because I've got gigs. And so it's kind of in between my music stuff, but I enjoy teaching, and also it's nice to be able to have, I don't know, it's just fun in general. But
yeah,
I get a lot out of it too.
yeah.
I think like teaching people how to teach themselves is like super key, because I didn't start getting better at anything until I learned how to teach myself. So
yeah. And that's what learning is.
sure, yeah.
That's it's this one and the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
You're teaching yourself when you're learning.
Yeah, exactly. Give the amount, and there's so much material. Like 20 years ago, when the internet didn't really exist, or it didn't, you couldn't just like go and find something. But like if you know
I know.
if you know how to get better, if you know that if I told someone this is what you do to get better, they can just do it now. It's not even hard. They can just do it. It's all there. Like they don't have to go to the library and like search up stuff. They don't have to like buy CDs. Like it's just there for free.
It's just that, yeah.
You know?
Indeed.
I mean, not free, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, it is pretty much free a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one last question.
Okay.
This is a tough one, actually. Well, it's two questions, really. So, what would be the most fulfilling, joyful, exciting experience you've had so far in your long life?
Yeah.
And why? If you had to choose one, just one.
I think being friends with my family.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
I think, yeah, being friends with your family is important. Not just being family, you know, being friends.
Absolutely. And why is that? What is it about having that friendship or that relationship with your family that's so important to you? What does it give you?
It's just unconditional, you know. It's because the family is unconditional anyway, but if you can be friends on top of that, then it's even nicer, because you're like, oh, you know, we have to hang out, but I also want to.
Yeah, well, that which
Christmases are better.
Yes, Christmases are much better when you're
But I
friends
think it's
with
just
your
nice.
family.
Like I was saying earlier, like you need a team for your business. I think you need a team.
Cheer squad.
Yeah,
A
and you
cheer
need a
squad.
team for like life in general. You need people. So I'm friends with my brother, I'm friends with my mum, I'm friends with my granddad and grandma and my cousins sometimes, not as much, but I have like my mom and my brother is I'm super, super close with, and I think it's super
Mm.
fulfilling. That's just, I mean, that's a pretty general thing, right? Like just it's a kind of an everyday thing. I'm just glad that it's there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And not everybody has that,
No, I
so
know. I know.
and not taking it for granted is a wonderful thing that
Yeah. I
you
was gonna say
recognize
my
that.
wedding. The first answer I had in my head was my wedding.
Well, that too.
That
Well,
would that
that's
would
family too, isn't
that
it?
would be number two. That would be my number two. Is that was a
You're
fulfilling day. And yeah,
joyful and exciting.
yeah, yeah, that was good.
Did you get married at home here on
At
the
my
Kapiti
wife
Coast?
at my wife's parents' house, yeah.
Oh,
So it
lovely.
was second home. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
And I want to say
Shaan,
I'm friends with my wife too. That's like another.
well, that's always a good start.
Yeah. Was that
That's
was you
lovely.
say that was that the hard question? That was the hard question, was it?
Well, that was the hard question. Some people find it really hard, but you obviously didn't, which is
All good.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Shaan, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm just going to quickly check on the Facebook to see if there were any questions. But if there aren't any questions,
If there
we
are in
can.
hindsight, live gets quick comments afterwards sometimes.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. And
you can flick them to
I'll
me
make
and I'll
sure.
respond maybe.
Yeah, no, there doesn't seem to be any questions on there, but we've had quite a few people watching, which is lovely.
That's good.
And
That's nice to know. I appreciate your time. It was great talking to you. Yeah.
it was lovely talking to you too. I really appreciate your time, being a really busy man. And you're
That's right. Today was all good other than my cat doing.
doing what she did. I have a remedy for that. Get some cloudy ammonia, and it smells worse than the cat pee, but if you spray it onto the cat pee, it dissipates, and it's the only thing that will get rid of the smell.
So it's like if you have a sore arm, you punch yourself in the leg.
Sort of thing. Yeah, but
How do you get rid of the
ammonia's
ammonia?
no, the ammonia is really unstable, so it dissipates really quickly,
Really?
and it takes the cat pee smell with it. Yeah.
Wow, you
If you
learn something every day.
cover your
Maybe
mouth, cover
I
your
will.
mouth and your nose while you're
Yeah, ammonia
spraying
is
it on.
strong. It's like smelling salts. That's what people do before they like do powerlifting, right?
Yeah. 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 But it works.
Okay, I'll give it a
I
go. I'll have a
I
look.
had an old cat that used to do that all the time, and that was the only thing that actually got rid of the smell.
Oh
So
gosh. Okay. Thank you. Hey, I want to say also, if anyone's watching, I'm doing like music, not teaching, but like, I think if you're a music student,
absolutely.
you might get a little help from my Instagram videos I'm putting up. I'll be putting them up all year, but I'm doing specifically like saxophone transcribing stuff for myself. So it's like an advanced level transcription, but
Mm-hmm.
I think there's stuff to be learned for any level of musician.
Oh, that sounds really exciting. And I'm really privileged to have had you sign up with the ARC Education. So
All right, I'm excited.
we'll
Yeah.
be we'll be working together around things like that. And I'll
Yeah.
be putting it out there for whoever's wanting information.
I'm excited
Um,
to be able to teach more people
it,
and connect with people. It's gonna be great. Yeah. I hope I can
yeah,
help some young musicians or older musicians get better.
all musicians, any musician.
Any
Yeah.
musician, yeah. Anyone.
Yeah, and I bet it's, you know, you get out of it a lot more than what people think. I think as a teacher, I
Yeah.
got more from my students than I gave, I think, a lot of the time when I work with kids.
Yeah.
So
I get a
Yeah.
lot out of like brand new students is so fun because you just get to see like zero to one.
Yeah,
Zero
zero
to
to,
one is
which
a
is
huge,
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
huge.
way 0 to 1 is just as big as 50 to 100, you know?
Yeah.
So, so
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's really fun.
that's exciting. Yeah. Well, thank you, Shaan. I really, really appreciate your time, and I'll let you go and enjoy this magnificent evening that we're having here on the Kapiti Coast. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, definitely swimming weather. So if you're a swimmer, get out there.
Yes. Yeah, I might actually. Anyway, thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
it. See ya.